Django is an incredibly popular Python web framework, and I've been absolutely loving it. Now, server-rendered Django templates are great and all, but sometimes I want highly dynamic client-side interactivity, and for that, I want to use Elm. Today, I'm going to show you a Python package that I've made that lets you seamlessly use Elm in your Django projects. Elm, Django, put them together, let's check it out. The first thing we're going to do is install the Django package. Let's do that from a Python virtual environment. In the terminal, let's type python3-m vmv vmv. Now we can do source vm/bin/activate. And boom, we are in a Python virtual environment, folks. And that means that any packages we install are scoped to this environment and won't clash with any Python stuff globally. That's a good thing. To install the Django package, let's type pip install Django. And just to confirm we have it installed, we can run pip show Django. And this gives us a little bit of package information. We can now create a Django project. Let's run django-admin start project Django Elm. You can use whatever you want instead of Django Elm, of course. It's just the name of the project. Let's cd into Django Elm, and right out of the box, we can actually just start the server and see something. Let's use the command python manage.py run server. We can ignore these migration errors, but it looks like something's happening at localhost 8000. Let's open it in the browser. So what you're seeing is the default Django UI. Basic stuff, but at least we know we have it working. Nice. Okay, now let's bring in the star of the show. I've released it on PyPI, and we can get it with pip. In the command line, let's run pip install djelm. Let's have a look at the GitHub repo for instructions on how to set it up. I'll leave a link in the description. First up, it's a good idea to make sure you meet the requirements, especially the Elm binary. So follow the link in the docs, and I'll also leave a link in the description to install Elm on your system. It's very straightforward. Having a look at the repo, we can see we have already completed these steps. So let's get straight to the juicy stuff and go to your first Elm program. So first up, we need to create a Django app in our project that our Elm programs will live in. We can do that by using the following command. The Elm program's argument can be whatever you want, really. Okay, we are getting an error, and this is basically Django telling us it has no idea what djelm is. We need to actually make sure that we include djelm as an installed app if we want Django to work with it via manage.py. And we can do that in the settings.py. Let's open up the project and go to settings.py. Right here in installed apps, let's include djelm and try that command again. Looking good. So once it's completed, it's giving us some handy info about what happened and what to do next. Looks like we need to add Elm programs to installed apps in settings.py. Let's go back to settings.py and do just that. Now that we have a place for our Elm programs to live, let's go back to the repo and see what's next. It looks like the next step is to add a program. So let's use this add program command. Now, the main argument here doesn't have to be main, it's just the name of a program we want to add. It does need to be in the Elm module naming convention though, so essentially camel case with a capital letter at the start. So like dog or to-do app. I'm going to stick with main. Let's run it and see what happens. Awesome, it added an Elm program for us and tells us where to find it. Let's do a bit of file tree exploration and see what we have so far. As we can see, we have an Elm programs directory, and inside we can see a pretty typical Django app. We have templates, template tags, static folder, pretty normal Django stuff. We also have a static source directory, and looking in here we can see what looks like an Elm project. We have an elm.json, a source directory, and in the source directory we can see our main program we added, and if we open it, we have some handy starter code that might look very familiar to folks who have seen my previous videos. Okay, let's keep this thing moving. Back in the repo, our next step is to run the npm command. this installs npm dependencies, djelm needs to bundle our Elm program. By default, this uses pnpm, which I highly recommend, but there are instructions in the docs if you use something else. Okay, let's run that command. That's done. Let's see what's next. The docs point out this watch command, which compiles our Elm programs and watches for changes. We're going to come back to this command. For now, we're just going to do things manually, so let's use the compile command instead. Looks like the Elm program compiled. Awesome. So we have all the pieces required from a DJ Elm perspective for Django to work with our Elm program. All that's left to do is create a route and render a Django template that we can add our Elm program to. So let's jump back in there and do that right now. For demo purposes, I'm just going to throw a template in the Elm programs app under templates. I'm going to call this base.html. I'm going to use the code from the docs for the content, and this will get server rendered by Django. The include and render main tags here are tags that DJ Elm has actually created for us when we ran the add program command. We can use them from within this template because of the load static main tags code up here. Essentially what this is doing is looking at the template tags directory and then making available the tags in the main_tags.py file. We're going to check out those tags and how to work with them in another video. It's enough for now that you just understand where the tags are coming from. Okay, the last thing to do is setting up a route, and we can do that from urls.py. Once again, let's use the code from the docs. Okay, it's complaining about template view, and hopefully my LSP will auto import that. Nice. Okay, that should be it. Let's check the browser, and if we refresh, boom. We are successfully using Elm with Django, and we are server rendering the template, and we have written exactly 0 lines of JavaScript glue code for the Elm program to hydrate on the page. DJ Elm just makes it that easy. As a last step, let's run the watch command. On the command line, write python manage.py DJ Elm watch Elm programs. This is now selectively watching files that would cause a recompile. So if I open up the code in a split window here and head over to main.elm, let's add some code to the view. Now when we save, you can see DJ Elm goes ahead and recompiles the program. Quite convenient. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and I'm super excited for the upcoming videos where I'll show you all the things you can do with Django and DJ Elm. If you can't wait, because let's face it, I'm very slow to release videos, then lean on the docs. They should give you all the information you need to build more sophisticated stuff. Until then, thanks.